Tashi, are you happy?
I'm extremely happy. Of course, I was imagining all sorts of scenarios the way this could go, and of course, I shouldn't have. But everyone has hopes of how it could be, or fears of how it could go wrong. Not that I thought that too much. Well, I mean, as much as the providing of room and space, I think that was the main issue, wasn't it, really? Paul?
It certainly was.
Yeah.
It was.
Because Tibetan is actually much more concise in meaning to English. But Paul was very skillful at dealing with this, not only providing a beautiful variety of scripts that we both discussed and apply to this to complement the Tibetan. But what kind of came to mind really is that historically, when at the time that Sanskrit teachings of Buddha, the manuscripts of Sanskrit migrated to Tibet, there would have been scribes, a bit like this situation now, who would have, for the first time, written the Tibetan translation under the Sanskrit. And what we've done here is written the English translation under the Tibetan. So that's quite something.
That's quite impressive. I mean, it's great, because of our friendship and us being friends for so long, it's great to have collaborated on this and to have made something so special, using these historical scripts as you're doing all this research for this new publication. And a lot of it is about historical script work.
It is, yeah.
So to have historical scripts, except of course for the upright copperplate, which is not historical, but to have those scripts like Fraktur, and that square text, and well, of course my small caps are my own invention, but they are based on Roman capitals. So
what's surprising is doing all this research is to discover that Tibetan, that seems so foreign, actually belongs to the same family tree as English and all of these things. It's not so different. It's where the edge of the border of this great tree that you know the history much better than I do. It comes all the way back to hieroglyphics and earlier, isn't it? All from the same branches. Tibetan is right on the edge. Totally separate family tree, and that will be the Chinese scripts.
Yeah.
Completely different. And yet there you go, there's Tibet right next to China. And it is proven that it originates from the Indian Sanskrit, which goes back to the Brahmi and Gupta, which can be linked all the way through
to Nabatean and Palmyrian and some of these early Ethiopic scripts, which then go back to Demotic, that then goes back to Egyptian hieroglyphs. So, but of course, because Tibetan's also written with a broad edge tool, albeit an oblique cut, because it has a sharp edge on the end of the writing implement, be it a bamboo reed or if you go into Arabic, a kalam, or if you come into Europe, a quill, because these shapes are cut in a certain way. There is a specific range of shapes which can only be produced from these kinds of tools if being used formally. And so there are synergies and sympathetic resonances between some of the shapes that lend themselves to connect to some of the scripts.
Because we're using a common pen.
Yes.
And whereas Chinese is a brush. Yeah, different, really different.
You happy, boys?
Very
Definitely.
happy.